Okay. All right, everybody. So, first of all, I would like to thank our hosts, Mr. and Mrs. Joe and Roxana Gelian. Thank you very much for hosting us. Always opening your doors for our shirim. Today, we're going to talk about a really, really important topic. And I named the shiur Responsible Parenting, which name speaks for itself, which is being a responsible parent. But I just want to give you a little bit of the background for the shiur, why we chose this topic. People had different questions in this area, and they wanted to have a Torah perspective about it. So we had, different questions like, why don't my kids listen to me? Am I saying or doing something wrong? Or how much do I push spirituality in their lives? Do I remind them to watch Netilat Yadayim? Do I remind them to say Birkat HaMazon? How much am I supposed to push that in the kids? Or questions like, how do I properly discipline and punish them? How do I shelter my kids without hiding them from the world? It's a tough balance. There are a lot of different things that are on people's minds when it comes to parenting. And I wanted to share with you some different insights that I have gleaned over the course of a couple of years being involved with children in yeshiva and also my own kids and in shul with kids, Baruch Hashem. So I want to share with you a couple of important concepts to answer these questions, but I think that the general idea is answered. Basically, most of the questions need to be addressed by the following general concepts. We'll start with a story. This actually is brought down in a book called Chinuch in Turbulent Times by Rabbi Dov Brizak. And he says the following story. He lives in Yerushalayim, and there was a snowstorm in Yerushalayim one year, and they're not prepared in Israel for snowstorms because it's so infrequent, it doesn't really happen that often. And what happened was he was walking with a friend of his, and he saw that certain trees fell down, and they were, collapsed on the ground. And as he was walking with this fellow, this other guy was from Los Angeles, and he had a plant nursery that he would sell plants to different people, different celebrities in LA. And meanwhile, they're walking in Yerushalayim, and the friend says to him, you see that tree over there, that was a weed. It had no roots. That's why when the snow fell on top of it, it had no strength to hold itself up, and it fell down because of that. So he said, really? He said, yes. He says he saw that all the time in his nursery in LA. People would come back, and they would say, it's not working. So he would ask them, first of all, how did you plant it? Did you plant the plant in the ground well? Did you properly insert it into the ground? They said, yes. We planted it, we watered it, we nurtured it, we did everything we needed for it. And then he would ask them, well, did you prepare the soil first? And they would say, what do you mean? He said, well, if you don't have fertile soil, if you don't have some kind of soil that the roots of the plant can spread within and they can take root in the ground, then there's no way it's ever going to attach itself to the ground. So the first step in planting, he would tell everybody, is you have to prepare the ground. You have to prepare the soil. So once you do that, then when you take care of that plant and you water it and you give it whatever nutrients it needs, then it's going to grow. But until you do that, it's not going to work. So he explains over here that really is an enlightening idea with respect to children and educating children and parenting children, because really these two things, these two parts are what make parenting successful, because kids are like planting. I want to use this mashal very much so, because kids are the same thing. The first thing that we have to understand is the soil has to be prepared properly. There has to be fertile soil. The ground has to be prepared. And once the ground is prepared, then when you plant, then it lasts. It takes root and it grows. So there are two elements that I would like to focus on. And with those two elements, I believe we can answer most of the questions that we've had until this point, what we've spoken about. Okay, so let's talk about preparing the fertile soil. How do we do that? So I want to mention a few different ideas about this concept. Number one, a home must be a happy home. We're talking about preparing the soil. You want the child to be someone who wants to be at home. He should love being at home. It should be a happy environment, not an environment where the kid is getting yelled at all the time. If it's hostile, the child doesn't want to be there. So if you yell at the kid, let's say, for spilling the soup on the floor or shattering the glass or whatever it may be, so the kid always gets yelled at again and again and again. He feels inadequate. He feels that he's not able to be successful. And therefore, he doesn't want to be at home because he's always given the feeling that he's not a good child. That's not something that you want. Part of preparing the soil is creating a happy environment at home. The home needs to be happy. Always plant positivity and very little negativity, if any at all. Okay. The idea is we have to fill them with trust. We have to plant in them that they're always welcome at home. Even if they had a bad day at school, even if they didn't do well on the test, no matter what, when they come home, they're going to receive a warm hug. And you're going to embrace them and be happy with them. I want to just share with you, if you look online, there's a beautiful question and answer session from Rav Gershon Edelstein. Rav Gershon Edelstein was the late Rosh Yeshiva of Panovich. He died at 100 years old. He recently, just maybe a month or two ago. And they asked him lots of questions. And many of those questions were about children that are really, really not behaving properly at all. They're breaking Shabbat. They're not keeping Torah mitzvot, period. And Rav Gershon Zatzal said that no matter what the kid is doing, doesn't make a difference. No matter what this kid is doing, you must keep him at home. Make sure that he stays home. We love him. We love him unconditionally, sincerely. We have to make sure that this kid stays at home. That's the only way to make sure that this kid has a chance of surviving out there. I encourage everybody to watch that video. It's an amazing video from Rav Gershon Edelstein, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. I'll tell you another story. I don't know if I've ever told you guys a story before about Rav David Trenk. Have you heard this story? Rav Pesach Kron tells over this amazing story about this wonderful Rabbi of decades that he had a boy in yeshiva one year, that it was a Friday night in his yeshiva, and this boy, I guess he was having some issues, having a hard time. He decided enough is enough. He wants to go see a movie right now. So it's Friday night. How's he getting to the movie theater? He goes and he steals his Rebbe's car. He takes his Rebbe's car parked in the parking lot. He drives to the movie theater on Shabbat. He goes, he buys a ticket, sits in the movie theater, and that's the story. Now, before he did that, what he said was that he was on the way to stealing the car. And what happened was this other boy saw what he was about to do. So he said, "Take me with you. I want to come too." He said, I'm not taking you with me. It's going to cause me an issue. I'm going alone. He says, if you don't take me with you, I'm going to tell the Rebbe on you. And surely enough, he said, I don't care. And he went to the movie, and this kid followed on his threat, and he told Reb David Trenk about what happened. So this Rosh Yeshiva, Reb David Trenk, went, and he decided he's walking to the movie theater on Shabbat. And he walked an hour and 20 minutes to get to the movie theater. And he walks in, he tells the people at the box office, I don't want to see a movie. I just have a student here. I want to tell him something, and then I'm leaving. So they let him in. He goes inside. He sees this kid watching the movie on Friday night. He's in the movie theater Friday night on Shabbat. He walks over to the kid. He sits right down next to him. The kid is startled. He's shocked. He can't believe his Rebbe is right next to him. And he says, Rebbe, he says, I'm so happy that I found you. He says, what do you mean? He says, you don't understand. I really, really had to just let you know. I wanted to tell you, the popcorn here is treif. Don't eat the popcorn, right? Like that. And he stands up and he walks away. He says, wait, Rebbe, that's it? He's like, yeah, don't worry. I just want to let you know, the popcorn here is treif. Don't eat it. Okay. And he leaves. And the boy was so dumbfounded by what just happened. He said, Rebbe, wait. And he ran after him. And he said, I'm coming back to yeshiva with you. And they walked back to yeshiva. What? No. They walked back an hour and 20 minutes. The whole time they were talking about everything else besides for what had just happened. the whole time. Talking about sports, talking about this and that. He didn't mention a word about what he did, didn't mention anything. And at the end of the walk, this boy looked at his Rabbi and said to him, Rabbi, I want to tell you something. I will never be Mechalel Shabbat ever again. Like that. I will never do that again. And that was that. Because what he did was he showed him that he cares for him. He showed him that he wants him to be happy. He wants him to know that he loves him. It's a lot about being very positive. That's the idea. Parenting is a lot of positivity. If there's any negativity at all, it's for every 5 positives, maybe 1 negative, if at all. But it has to be that you're putting more and more of an emphasis about the positive, which we're going to talk about again very shortly. Okay, so that's called preparing the fertile soil. You have to give over the positive. The people were asking, how do we properly discipline? Properly disciplining depends on how you properly prepare the soil first. It depends on how you give over the positive feeling first. So how do we do that? So we have a few important things we have to talk about. Number 1, positive speech to your children is extremely important. I missed you. I made your favorite dinner today. I was thinking about what you told me last night. I thought about you and I bought you this, right? I'm so proud of how you were mevater at that time, right? Let's say the kid did something very positive. He was very gracious to a sibling. I'm so proud of how you were so gracious and how you were so nice, and you talk about that. So here you just said in one day, you just gave 5 very positive interactions with that child. So you just said 5 positive things. Now the same kid comes home and he got a 60 on the test. Okay? Got a 60. Okay? So now you want to discuss the 60. You don't want to let it slide. You want to tell the kid that you hope that the kid does better. So now how do you say that? Well, you could say, I noticed you got a 60 on the science test. Everything okay? Right? Or even jokingly, 60? 60? Like, what's going on? The point is that kid by this point knows so much and so well, because you always re-emphasize the positive with this child again and again and again and again. He knows or she knows that you love them so much and that you care about them so much that at this point, when you say something about their test, they know you're not out to get them. They know that you're not trying to, make them feel bad. You're just sincerely wondering what happened over here. 60? Why? So because you reinforce the positivity all the time with good conversation, good positive speech, so then when you do have what to say to them, which is somewhat of a rebuke, they take it. They're willing to accept it. That's actually a story that I heard once from a fellow that was a graduate of my yeshiva, Torah Vadas. His name is Berish Fuchs. He once told over a story about how he was davening out loud in yeshiva, and Rav Pam, the Rosh Yeshiva of Torah Vadas, overheard him. And he called him over. Rav Pam was very precise on how he would say words. Dikduk was very important to him. So he called over this fellow, Berish Fuchs, and he said to him, wow, you're davening today? Amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was hearing you daven. It was unbelievable. It was so nice. And then he says, but I heard the way you said certain words, and I think you have it a little bit off. So Berish Fuchs, he got up and he said, from here I saw that before you rebuke somebody, you have to build them up. That's what he was explaining. And Rav Pam didn't just say, hey, you said that word wrong, you said this word wrong. No, he built him up. Your davening was amazing, loud, and you were on fire. It was awesome. But I think I overheard you saying the word a little bit off. So you build up and then you give the rebuke. Another very important tool that I want to speak about is touch. Very important. Every kid needs to be touched by their parents so often. Adults, Baruch Hashem, have their spouses. They have that affection from their spouse. But kids also need warmth and they need affection too. And some people are not naturally touchy like that. They don't give that to their children. But you should know it's a problem. It's a problem. They need that sense of love and affection from their mom, from their dad, and you have to pay attention to it. A true story with myself. So I had in yeshiva a couple of years ago, I had a kid, I kid you not, I don't know why, I didn't know why at the time. He would always make a point of bumping into me. It was very odd. He would bump into me. He would walk into me and but he wouldn't just do it once. He would do it like 5 times a day. It was very strange to me. Why are you bumping into me all the time? You don't see that I'm here? How could you miss me? Right? But he did it again, and I thought it was very weird in the beginning. And then I met his parents. And I see that the parents have no affection, no love, they're not warm, they don't give him any physical sign of love. It's a big problem. The kid needs that. He needs to know that the parents love him. And part of that is that the parent gives him a hug, gives him a kiss, touches him, shows him affection physically. That's very important. And a lot of times, unfortunately, I see that people are not doing that. And that's how you get a kid that's looking for that and is bumping into some other guy. It's very weird. But that's what he needed. He needed that. He was bumping into me all the time. It was very, very sad, but it's true reality of things. So if he's not getting it at home, so he's going to get it by bumping into something. It's very, we don't want that, but that's what it is. Okay.
What about a kid that doesn't like being touched?
Okay.
Like a puberty age kid that just doesn't like
okay. So as long as on your end, they know that you are willing to and that you want to, and that on your end the affection is there if and when they need it, they're good. Well,
how do you show that?
Try.
Just with word
No. Definitely with words for sure. I'm saying go in for the hug every now and then. See what happens. Maybe you'll take it with that. Okay, nice, and that's your job. It's okay. That's mom's job. That's Abba's job. We come in, we look, we try to give it to them because that's something that they need, whether they're willing to admit it or not. They need that sign of physical affection. It's important. Okay. Again, this is all preparing the soil. This is all preparing for planting. We're not planting yet. We're creating the environment that's conducive to planting. That's the key. Now, another very important thing, be willing to spend time with your kids. You have to be willing to spend time with them. And when you spend time with them, you do so with a smile on your face and you're happy about it, right? In other words, if you give over the feeling of you are a burden to me, I would rather be on my phone right now. I would rather be on Instagram right now. You are trying to get my attention and I am over here, right? Doing this and that, and I'm not, that's a bad feeling. The kid does not feel loved. The kid does not feel desired. And when you finally do answer, you're only answering because he's annoying you so much and he's nagging at you, pulling at you, that you just have no choice but to get him off your back. You have to listen to him. It's not a good feeling. It's not a positive feeling. So you have to proactively try to figure out times where you can spend time with them and show them that you love being with them, playing a game with them, reading with them, using the opportunities. Like, for example, you're going to the grocery store, you have Baruch Hashem, Ben Yosef, 10 kids, take a kid with you, right? Take one with you to the grocery store. And you find time for each child individually. Each kid needs a certain amount of time. Maybe it could be Monday is Yossi, Tuesday is Shmuli, Wednesday is Rivka, right? You have 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, but that's Rivka time on Wednesday. So that way you know that this person, meaning this kid, is getting from you at some point some one-on-one time, which shows them that you love them. And what do you do with them? You do something that they like, or something, even if it's just going somewhere. Even if it's just being together for a walk, it's something. It's giving them individualized time. And that helps a whole lot. Okay. So now, I believe that those are things that if we focus on them, let's just go review them briefly, what we said. First of all, the home has to be a happy home. Very important. You can't yell, you can't scream. Remember, I know that I've said this in the past, but it has to be reiterated. Anger is avodah zarah. Anger is idol worship. If you get angry, you're worshiping idols. Plain and simple. We all say, Baruch Hashem, we're Shomrei Torah mitzvot, right? You would never say, yeah, I keep Torah mitzvot, but every now and then I worship idols. You would never say that, right? Anger is avodah zarah. And I know that there are pressures and there are things that are troubling and there are things that make you upset and you sometimes lose it. Not allowed to lose it. The home has to be a happy environment. If it becomes hostile, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Blah, 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 and everyone's walking on nails by you. It's not a happy place to be. Nobody's going to want to be there. It has to be positive. Always positive energy. Always positive words. Positive speech. Like the examples we gave. I missed you. I made your favorite dinner. I was thinking about you. I thought about you and I bought this. I'm so proud of how you did this and how you did that. Always positive. Show with touch as well. And be willing to spend time with them. And do so with a smile. Do it happily. That, in my opinion, is preparing the soil for planting. That is now a fertile soil because the child has trust in your relationship with him. The child trusts that you really love them. The child trusts that you're not out to get them, that you view them as a human being, that you listen to them, that you want to hear from them, you want to spend time with them. And that is everything. So now the soil is fertile and it's ready for now the next step, which is planting. Okay. So we will plant the seeds, Be'ezrat Hashem, that will grow and blossom in them and will last them for life. So the first thing that I want to explain is that kids do not know things naturally. Now it's time to start planting the seeds. So you have to be proactive and not reactive. So you have to remember, a 4-year-old does not know how to behave in certain social settings. Neither does a 6-year-old. There are certain things that they don't know. For example, my wife told me about a lady that brought her kids to a kiddush. They didn't usually go to shul. They only started sending their kids to shul at, let's say, 10. 4 or 5-year-old kid comes to kiddush at shul, and they were so wild. They saw all this food there. They were jumping all over the place. They were pushing to get, another piece of this or another piece of that. And they were just running all over the place. So she was so embarrassed. The mom was so embarrassed. But my wife told me, okay, she was embarrassed. People were commenting to her like, your kids have a lot of energy. They're very this, they're very that, and they're all over the place. So my wife told her, but did you ever prepare them? Did you ever prepare them for how do you behave at a kiddush? The answer was no, I never prepared them, right? So you're bringing your kids to the kiddush for the first time. So you have to explain to them, when we're at the kiddush on Shabbat morning, this is how we take food. And this is how we eat. And this is what we do. And this is what we do not do. They don't know. How will they ever know if nobody explains it to them? So that's part of planting. Let's say another situation. When we go visit this grandparent, right? So this is what we do. We show respect by giving them a kiss. Or let's say when we go to their house, they have toys. We have to clean up the toys. We have to say thank you. We have to ask permission before leaving the table because we're not finished yet. Whatever you want to train them, whatever you want to say to them, they don't know. You have to be the one to explain it to them. That's parenting, right? You have to explain it to them. So before the situation comes up, you have to proactively go ahead and discuss it with them and prepare them for whatever is coming up. That way they know what to expect and they know how to handle the situation. Okay. Another question that was asked was about mitzvot. How much do I have to push for mitzvot? We want our kids to wash netilat yadayim in the morning. We want them to say birkat hamazon. So the first step of planting is that you yourself have to be the role model. You yourself will go and wash netilat yadayim. You yourself will go and say birkat hamazon. You yourself will dress the way that you want your kids to dress, and you yourself will behave in ways that you want your kids to behave. You have to be that role model for them. They're following you. They see what you do, and they want to do the same thing. So let's say, for example, you finish Kiddush, and it's Friday night, and now you say, okay, time to wash. And you go wash. And you take your kids too. Come, everybody, come wash. Let's say the kid doesn't want it, right? So the kid doesn't want to wash until the time. Let's say, for example, sometimes there's issues. So the way that I've been taught, we never force kids to do mitzvot. We don't force. Never force them. No, you have to. If you're forcing them to do it, they will resent it and they will reject it. You have to do it in a way that we train them to do it naturally. It should be, I've been washing my kids' hands netilat yadayim since they're 1 year old. They're babies. But it comes naturally to them. So hopefully they'll just do it naturally. But if there's any kind of resistance to it, so we don't make a big deal out of it. You keep doing it, and you do it happily, and you encourage it. But we don't force. If you force, you start to make it a forcing game. Remember, chinuch is not forcing. Chinuch is educating. It's helping them to understand what's right and what's wrong. But they have to reach the conclusion. You can guide them. You can encourage them. But forcing is not chinuch. Forcing is showing I'm stronger than you. You want them to reach the conclusion on their own. So, meaning by you guiding them and then them agreeing with it and understanding it and accepting it and moving forward with it. So, it's time for Birkat HaMazon. You say, okay, here's a bencher. Come, time for Birkat HaMazon. Hand him the bencher, right? He does it, great. He doesn't do it, no problem. We start singing it together. We sing it together as a family and everyone's singing it and it's nice. Eventually they'll jump back in. You have to have the faith that they will do it. But you cannot force. Do not force. It's not a healthy thing. I can tell you because I've seen this, unfortunately. I've seen parents who have forced their children. Their children resented it so much that eventually they just said, forget all this stuff. I'm not interested. I don't want it. No davening, no tefillin, nothing. They were pushed too hard. Okay. Let's talk about a scenario. A kid finds out that his older siblings 2 hours ago, while he was out, they all got ice cream. Okay? He comes back 2 hours later, and he is not happy that he did not get ice cream. Now, it just so happens to be that you are about 5 minutes before dinner, right? So now you're not happy with this idea of him eating ice cream before dinner, right? So you say, listen, I know that you were out and you didn't have it, and next time, but we're about to eat dinner. You're going to ruin your appetite. So don't have the ice cream. The kid is livid. Excuse me, right? Everyone else got ice cream and I didn't get ice cream. What's the matter? He gets all upset, and you say, but you're going to kill your dinner. We're about to eat dinner in 5 minutes. Everything's ready. No. I'm having ice cream right now. And they stormed over to the freezer, about to take out the ice cream. So now, what I would originally say in this situation as the kind of, originally before what I'm about to tell you, but my initial reaction would be, is fight fire with fire. Really? Oh yeah? You're going to the, that's what I would think, right? You're going to the freezer? I'll show you, I'm not going to have ice cream for a month, What's the matter with you? How dare you? The chutzpah, you talk to your father like that, talk to your mother like that? Are you out of your mind? I wiped your, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you, you know what I'm saying? This is what you do? That's what I would have said, right? And then let's say they pull the thing open and they want the ice cream. I would go and I'd whack it out of his hand. What's the matter with you? Right? No. I said no. The answer is no. Learn your lesson. That's what I would have said. But that's not what the mechanchim say. The great mechanchim out there say no. What you could do in the heat of the moment is instead you could say, look, you have a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah of kibud mitzvah to listen to your mother. It's a big mitzvah. I'm not going to force you to do it. It's up to you. The kid hears that and he will not care. He's going to go take the ice cream and eat it and say, here's kibud em. That's it. That's what he's going to do. He wants the ice cream. Maybe think next time better about how I, how I should get ice cream, just like my siblings. It's not fair, right? Okay, fine. So now how do you deal with the situation? So I'll preface this with Moshe Rabbeinu in this week's parasha. Moshe Rabbeinu is about to pass away. It's Rosh Chodesh Shvat in this week's parasha. He's about to die in a month and a few days. and he gives rebuke to the Jewish people. Why did he wait until now? So the Farshim say, this is the end of the 40-year period. Everybody in the desert that was involved in the golden calf and in the spies, everybody is dead. And it's the new generation that's about to go into Israel. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that when you rebuke someone, you cannot rebuke them in a way that it's going to fall on deaf ears. You have to wait for the ground to be fertile. And all those people that were involved in those sins, they died. Now it's a new generation. So Moshe knows when it's his last speech. It's the last thing he's about to say. So they're going to listen to his final words. So he says, now is the right time to give them the rebuke. And that's lesson number one. Timing is everything. The Gemara in Masechet Brachot tells us you should not ever try to reason with somebody or try to explain or rebuke somebody in his fit of anger. The moment of rage is not the right time. He's not going to listen. He will not care. There are times to rebuke and there are times not to. And that's something that we have to care, we have to think about. So step number one, wait maybe a day or two. Wait a day or two. Wait for this kid to relax. Wait for him to calm down. So now he's relaxed. So now you can approach this child and you can say, again, you don't have to remind him every little detail. You did this, and you did that, and you said this, and you said that, and you were chutzpahdik, and you were this. No. Moshe Rabbeinu, in this week's parasha, when he tells them about the bad things they did, he wants to mention to them the sin of spies, the complaining about the man. He wants to mention how they lost faith in did the golden calf. You know what he does? He doesn't even say one thing. He names locations. He just gives them a list of locations. He says, Ben Paranu Ben Su. It says Mol Suf Ben Paranu Ben Tofel Velavan V'Chatzerot V'Dizahab. Just list them locations of places they messed up. He doesn't even say what they did. So in a very soft way, he tells them, guys, a lot of bad things happen. Make sure when you go to Israel, this doesn't happen. So here too, we approach the kid a couple days later, he's more relaxed, and you say to the kid, hey, remember that little ordeal with the ice cream? Remember that thing? Remember what happened? If you could repeat that scenario again, would you do this? Most of the time, I'm told, the kid will say, no, it wasn't worth it. Because they'll understand that what they did was wrong. It went against you. It's not appropriate for just some ice cream. So they will say, no, I won't do it again. I wouldn't have done so again. So let's assume they answer that way. What do we do now? Obviously, at this point, they're saying that they're calm, they're relaxed, and their siblings didn't get ice cream again, and it's a different time frame. But from the next issue like that, they'll do it all over again. So how do you prevent that from happening? So now you reinforce again with the positivity. Now you come back and you say, hey, a day later, you told me yesterday that situation with the ice cream, you wouldn't do it again. I can't even tell you how proud I was of you. It made me so happy. I had so much nachat from you. It was so special. It shows me that you matured and that you thought about it and that you really gave it the right thought. And I'm beaming from that, And then you remind them a couple of days later, I still can't believe just how amazingly you've grown and how you understand. And you reinforce to them what they themselves said they would do next time. So now you started planting within them that seed that if this issue ever comes up again, now they themselves have said that if this were to happen again, next time the siblings got it, he didn't get, now he's going to remember, wait a second, I myself said that I would not react the same way. And you reminded them of that. So that's something that will help them to grow. Because again, it's them using their own words. Yes.
Say that have this conversation.
I I think every kid is different, but if the kid is able to understand what you're saying, meaning he has a certain maturity to him, then I think that you can have that conversation. Maybe in one kid it's 7, 8, another kid is older. Everyone is different. One can have that maturity. Yeah.
Like, say no, I'm gonna take advice when I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Like, let them be.
You say, listen, you have a mitzvah to listen to your mom, right? I'm not gonna force you, right? And then they take the ice cream.
If there's no ice cream, they're like, no, they had ice cream before, it's finished, if it's me now, buy ice cream.
Right.
It's me right now, or I'm gonna mark over.
So maybe we can come up with something else, like a different, try to reason with it. Yeah.
The other kids that giving so easily, you're giving you a treat before dinner, they're gonna also do that. They're gonna say, Mom, you could play the person.
Well, you got ice cream before, right? He didn't.
I know, but I feel like they get into this like routine of like cry and scream and bother mommy, and then they get.
So yeah, everything is. You're right. There's always the bigger picture to worry about.
What if you
But-
distract them?
What?
Is that better? Distract them. So
Distracting is wonderful. If you can distract them, sure, of course. If you distract them, that's great. You shouldn't even feel the need for it again. But sometimes the kid really feels like I was gypped. It's not fair. This always happens to me. I go away for this and that. I come back and I lose that. Everyone else got this and that, and me, I got nothing. So they feel like they were, that this happened to them. Okay, but yeah, there are always things like that. But let me just talk about for a second what would happen if the kid says yes, I would do it again. What would be then? So now you have a chance to speak with him, to have this opportunity to say, wait a second. Why do you think that that's the right thing to do? Is that something that you feel is, well, because it always happens to me that I don't get, and everyone else gets, okay, well, maybe we can find a different time for you to get instead of at that moment. I mean, obviously, Abba, Mommy, we know what we understand that, that we love you. Again, you planted the soil, the ground is fertile. You've made the kid aware that you love him and that you want to be with him and that you're not rejecting him, that you're not dismissing him. So now you have a chance to sort things out with him and to talk about the situation. And hopefully you'll reach a point where he understands that was something that shouldn't happen again. Yeah. Okay. Now, remember, criticism gets you nowhere. You need to appeal to their intellect. You need to help them understand the correct conclusion. It says in Mishlei, somebody who withholds the rod hates his child. Now, everybody always understands this to mean you have a rod. With your rod, you can beat somebody. You have a kid who's not listening. You don't beat him. That means you hate him because you're not disciplining. Rav Wolbe learns it a little bit differently. Rav Wolbe Zatzal writes that there are two types of rods. There's one type of rod which you use to beat somebody. There's another type of rod which they use for animals to prod them, to poke them, to push them forward. Because if you don't use the rod, meaning to encourage, to push forward, to show that you love them, that you support them, that you believe in them, it's very important that the kids should know that you believe in them, that you believe that they are able to accomplish, that you believe that they're smart, you believe they're able to achieve. So then you hate your son because you're not giving them the confidence that you believe that they can actually succeed and that they are capable, and you're limiting them, you're inhibiting them and their growth. That's a very big problem. Okay, so now we have to be responsible. Okay, I can't have a parenting class without talking about this nowadays. You must shield your children from social media and from devices. Okay, I can't say it in any other terms. Social media has a very, very negative effect on kids. Very negative effect. Devices, meaning phones, tablets, all these things are incredibly harmful if you don't guide your children in how to use them, if you don't protect them from the dangers that are there. It is extremely irresponsible. Extremely. We have to be responsible parents. And I encourage everyone to go online, Google studies about the effects of social media on kids. I just did that. There are plenty of studies I found. I picked one. Mayo Clinic clinic said that in the United States in 2019, they studied 6,500 12 to 15-year-olds who had 3 hours a day of social media, and they concluded mental health problems. 1 second. In the UK, 12,000 13 to 16-year-olds that are on 3 times a day causes poor mental health and well-being. This stuff is very dangerous, and there are reasons for that. Yeah.
With social media, you just mean like the like Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, not
All that stuff.
like TikTok, Instagram, or is it also like WhatsApp, like talking to friends, texting?
Texting, messaging is a little bit different, but the thing is that all these things, TikTok, definitely TikTok, is that there are so many problems. First of all, it disrupts their sleep schedule. I had a kid in yeshiva this year. Every class, the kid is out on the desk, out. He's like smeared. The drool is coming out of it. It's a disaster. The kid can't stay awake. And I'm talking to his mom. I said, what is going on? Why is this kid not awake in class? He's on his phone till 5 a.m. every night. Okay, very good. Very good. So now we have an answer. Why is a 12-year-old on his phone until 5 a.m. or whatever, 13, 14, 15? Why are you on the phone till 5 in the morning every night? What's the matter with you? Okay, so he has followers, 20,000 subscribers to his ridiculous TikTok videos that he posted about his friends or whatever, silly, stupid pictures that he posts, and he's doing his thing till 5 in the morning. It's a different world. It's a different world than when we grew up. And he's on this thing till 5 a.m. So he cannot function in class. Now, Mom, where are you? Don't you understand? Well, I'm working. I'm trying to go home. I go to sleep. Great. Why are you giving him a phone with TikTok that he can be on the phone at 5 in the morning? Forget about what else he's seeing over there. Is there a filter? No, there's no filter. So you're giving your kid an unfiltered phone, and he's watching whatever, God knows what he's watching, and he's doing whatever until 5 in the morning. How do you expect this kid to turn out okay? I don't understand. What kind of parenting is that? What do you think is going to happen? It's so irresponsible. But besides that, the bullying that happens on all these platforms, they bully each other like crazy. The kids, they bully each other. They make videos of other kids and they laugh at them. They spread rumors. And they have these crazy, unrealistic expectations of what a person's body is supposed to look like and about figure and all that stuff. And everybody is online making believe that they are the happiest person on the planet. It's all fake, it's all phony, and it's the most not sanua thing ever. Not sanua meaning even if everybody is fully dressed, forget about it. But for a person to be posting his entire life online, it's nobody's business. Right? It's nobody's business. It's your personal life. It's not sneut. It's not modesty. Nobody needs to see your stuff, your personal life, in front of the whole entire world. It's very, very, very wrong. It causes people to really damage their mental health. Mental health. So, Rabotai, that's called being responsible. If you decide that you need to give your kid a phone, for whatever the reason may be, first of all, needless to say, it has to be filtered. It's a question. It has to have a filter. You expect a 15-year-old kid to not watch all of the temptations that are online? Are you serious? You have to have a filter. What about your phone? Your phone also has to have a filter. Because if it's not going to be on his phone, he'll come and take your phone and watch it. What's stopping him? You're not watching him every two minutes. Why wouldn't he? This is the reality of the world we live in. You need to filter your phones. You do, because your kids will take it and watch it. If you're not watching them, they'll do that, and it's going to lead to them having anxiety in the kids. It's just a disaster. So you have to filter. Yeah.
Would it be harmful to have a child with an iPad, a touch screen? It just has games on it.
So you could do that, but what I recommend is what I do with my own kids. We give them a certain amount of time. The iPad shuts off after X amount of minutes. 30 minutes, 45 minutes if you were that's it. It's locked. You can try from morning till night to open it. It's not going to open. Have 45 minutes a day, whatever. Leave your thing. You're done. They know we have X amount. It's controlled. It's not controlled. It's not just a free for all. because they don't know how to handle this stuff. We ourselves don't know how to handle these things. It's all new stuff. It's all new things in social media. So you giving your kids all these, it doesn't work like that. You have to be in control of these things. So, okay. Yeah.
But because of that, like my kids see like came with a friend, go put their bag into their
Yeah.
their neighbors' backyards and look at their.
So it seems like if you give them a little bit that's controlled, they'll have the feeling, oh, we have that too, but it's X amount, and that's it. Control, not just free flow.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like sometimes there are times for like restricting it.
Yeah.
Like when
So I'm saying you give them a little bit, but control. You're on top of them. They don't need a phone at 12. Why does a 12-year-old need an iPhone? Why can't they have a flip phone? What do they need? Why do they even need a phone? I didn't have a phone at 12 years old. But if you're already getting one for him, why does it need to be an iPhone? What's wrong